they counting me out, I'm getting it in, yeah. No time for no loss, I'm paying the cost, I'm in it to win, yeah. Refuse, mine, it can't be diffused. If you ain't thinking the same, then we playing by different rules. You can't see the vision, we living at different views. Until we complete the mission, keep getting up, never snooze. I walked a mile in my shoes, had the mind of a fool, chasing diamonds and jewels. Trust me, I was confused. Started minding my business and used my mind as a tool. Ended up finding my purpose and found the time to get to it. They told me I couldn't do it, they told me I couldn't make it. They sold it, could never break it. That's sadly mistaken. I need a piece of the pie, I want it so bad I can taste it. They told me like told me, keep on running, toes they gon' take them. Refuse to lose, built to win, apply myself, I felt it in. No time for the doubt, they counting me out, I'm getting it in, yeah. No time for no loss, I pay for the cost, I'm winning to win, yeah. Refuse to lose, I'm built to win, apply myself, I felt it in.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to Refuse to Lose Sports. I am your co-host, along with the other co-host, Tomo. We got some NBA all-season stuff to talk about today, but it's Friday. I call it Free Me Friday. You know, some other people might want to say Freaky Friday, but this is a family show, so we ain't gonna talk about that. You know, that's that's a different kind of conversation. But Freedom Friday, man. You know, we got Juneteenth coming up on Monday, so, you know, got to talk about some freedom stuff. And it's some, you know, teams that are free, you know, NBA free. So definitely excited about today's show. How you feeling today, Tomo?
Man, I'm doing good, man. I'm doing good. Like you said, we got the Juneteenth on Monday, so, you know, hopefully everyone took off. And if you didn't, take off. That's all I'm saying. No Migos, just take off. Other than that, I'm doing good, man. I'm ready to actually be optimistic about my basketball team for once.
Yeah, and you're actually going to hear some positive things from me about my basketball team. But we also have some breaking news today, which we will be talking about. That'll be the first topic. So hope you guys are prepared for that. But other than that, we can't start the show without me saying, turn me up. So let's get it. Like I said, we got some stuff to talk about, but make sure you like, subscribe, and share to the network on YouTube, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts. We are live right now on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. So if you're on Facebook, make sure you like this, share this, so other people can join the watch it. If you're on Twitter, like it, retweet it, and you can even retweet it with a quote. Let them know that we're live right now. So make sure you do that. And if you're on YouTube, you know, comment and share this with somebody so they can, you know, watch it. Actually, on my way to come do the show, I was in Starbucks, you know, and I broke the news about some things that happened and got somebody to subscribe right then and there. So you don't have to just go out your way to do it. You could do it on the go.
Shout out to you, man, whoever you work.
Yep. Shout out to you and appreciate you for making my coffee the way I wanted to. I appreciate you for that.
Yeah, Starbucks orders are different. They are different.
Exactly. And luckily I went in there and it got done very quickly. But today's gonna be an exciting show. So make sure you light up that comment section. You know, comments just help us be able to feed what we like to talk about, and we like to do a live show all the time. So, you know, when we first started this, we used to do it through Zoom, but now we're live. So, you know, it's a lot better that way. We get all live reactions, so nothing's rehearsed. You don't have to worry about none of that. We give you live exactly how it goes. So light up that comment section, and then Tom will go ahead and talk about those IG chats that we have.
So again, man, tell you about these IG chats for everyone that's joining the show, and if you're listening on the audio adventure, because we're not just a visual show, we also give you audio, as Dave told you. Make sure you subscribe. Hit us up on Instagram if you want to be a part of these chats. With the Refuse to Lose Network, you get the latest news, updates, healthy conversations, just hot takes from other guys within the chat. Also, you could possibly find some business moves out there. I said it yesterday on the show, man. We got folks that do almost a little bit of everything. We got landscaping, cupcakes, shirts. You might can get a verse. I ain't gonna say too much, but I'm not the rapper though. But with these chats, we give you NBA/WNBA. We got NFL. We got MLB. Hats off to Baseball with Teddy. Make sure y'all check that show out. Baseball with Teddy is doing numbers. I'm going to say home runs. You're doing home runs out the park. We got college football, college basketball, men's and women's. We also have boxing. I want to say with boxing, again, it's kind of like the combat chat. We gonna update this soon, but for right now, bear with us. It's the boxing chat, but we give you a little bit of UFC and wrestling mixed in, all in that chat as well. And again, I want to reiterate, you get the latest news and updates with these chats. Because Dave, I want you to share your story right quick with the people.
All right, so this is I'm not talking about the Starbucks one, but I'm on a Facebook group called NBA Real Talk Backup. So what I did was when I found out the news about John Morant, I posted it in there immediately, and then in there people were like, come on, this is not true. It didn't even happen yet. And then next thing you know, ESPN Bleacher Report started buzzing, and then it said exactly what I said, and I was like, well, now you believe me, right? It's like, well, you get all of this on the IG group and on my show. And I have people that are actually going to be like, all right, well, we're going to check out the show now. So I'm like, all right, well, there you go. So that's what happens. And in these chats, we give you all of that immediately. So if you want to have access to this, you can join our chats. The only one that you can't easily get into is the Refuse to Lose chat, because you got to actually come on the show and talk some sports.
Facts.
And you got to know what you're talking about. Don't come on here fooling around thinking you could just, come in and say anything. Nah, because we're going to question you. We want to know exactly if you know what you're talking about. And like Tomo said, shout out to BWT, Baseball with Teddy. I actually did an episode last night with Teddy, Javon. Dang, I forgot the other guy's name that fast, and I literally just had it in my head. Gene.
I'm about to say you back Teddy, to the dugout.
So Teddy, Javon, and Gene, had a great episode last night. I was actually able to talk about some baseball, and to be a guest on there was great. So make sure you check out BWT with Teddy. Definitely a fire show. So other than that, guys, we appreciate you for watching and tuning in. Let's start the show. So, Tomo, go ahead. Let's bring up that first segment.
So am I going first or you going first? Because if you all have been in tune, go ahead. You going first?
We're gonna talk about John Morant first. Then we'll do the
well, let's get that out the way. Let's bring up some. We're gonna bring up John Morant. Like Dave said, we had some breaking news, and the NBA has laid down their law. They came back, and Adam Silver, he said he was gonna wait till after the finals. He literally waited till after the parade concluded and woke up this morning and said, "Boom, John Morant, take these 25 games and hold that." So now we know that John Morant will be suspended for 25 games starting the next season. And Dave, what's your take on that?
This is exactly what I expected. This is exactly what I expected. We talked about this yesterday in the back studio after the show was over yesterday. And I was basically explaining, I was like, well, the NBA would be stupid to give him anything less than 20 to 25 games. Because for one, in the NBA, they have a new rule in the CBA that anyone that doesn't play at least 65 games cannot be a part of any all NBA team, not eligible for any Supermax. And plus, he had already gotten suspended for 8 games by the team. I understand it wasn't by the NBA, but his team is in the NBA. So it kind of makes sense to not give him anything less than 25 games. Plus, there were reports that came out before that the NBA and the NBA Players Union had already agreed upon this suspension. Mm-hmm. So even if he tried to appeal, what defense was he going to get? Because this was not a legal issue, because he didn't do anything illegal technically, because he didn't really. I guess, like I said, no one got hurt in the situation. It's where he was at, it's legal to carry, so it's not as if it was a legal issue. But this is you work for a private entity. That's like if where I work at full time and they see that I'm brandishing guns and doing all this other stuff, you think they're going to be associated with me? No, it may not be on their property, but this is well known. They see this. They don't want that kind of representation that they work for. So that's what the NBA did too. They was like, well, look, you said that you were going to change, that you were going to do better, and you clearly didn't do that. Less than 3 months after you got suspended, and you went to a drive-through therapy, that you were going to do good. When most therapies take about a minimum of 30 days to be committed to say that there was some change, and
Mhm.
you went for a week. So that automatically says that there's not going to be much change. So they said, well, since you pretty much play with us, we're going to make sure that we play with you, kind of, sort of, and you're not going to be able to play for the first 25 games of the season. So I say it's deserved. It's deserved. There's not much he can really do to fight this because he knew what he did was wrong. And he had came out with a statement and pretty much saying that he hurt a lot of people, but we heard that before too. So my only thing is just please do what you said you're going to do. Save your career. Don't put yourself down this line to where you end up not playing another game in the NBA again because you are still given another opportunity. I think the next time, if this happens again, more than likely you're going to be suspended for the entire season. So that's
That's
my
true.
thoughts on it.
That's true. I mean, we've talked about this countless and countless times before, and I'm gonna just answer Steven's comment here. So they basically suspended him for what he did last year when he in the off season when he held the gun up in his friend's live video. That's what they're suspending him for. Is more so kind of a counter action, or what I say, yeah, it's a counter action to his reaction to him being suspended, about him going to therapy and then doing the interview with Jalen Rose and saying that he wanted to be here for his teammates and he wanted to be a better person and just a better player. But then yet again, we have him displaying that he did not listen. So this is why the NBA is laying the hammer down. But I also agree with you though, Dave. Like when you work in a private industry, they can make up their own rules. I was literally just having a conversation with Ricky about this, who be on the boxing episodes, and
Mhm.
we were just talking about the difference between working for a public company and a private company. And again, if you work for a public company, they're shareholders. So when you do certain things, they react towards how the shareholders react. When you work for a private company, they more so make up the rules as they go. And we
Mhm.
all remember the pandemic. A lot of places were closed down. However, there were private industries that were still saying people had to come into work because they don't operate off of that mandate. So when you
Facts.
think about it like that, that's what the NBA is saying. Like, okay, of course, it's legal to carry. It's legal to do whatever you want when you're in the house. However, when you're associated with our brand, no matter where you are, if you're off the clock or on the clock, you're still a representation of us.
Hmm.
And with that being said, Gilbert Arenas got suspended for bringing guns into the locker room. You held up two guns, toys or not. And if it was a toy, you should have said something in the moment.
Exactly.
They may have gave you a little leniency, but you didn't. You waited till after the fact. Now you got to wait till after 25 games to come back. So, Ja, hopefully this is one of those things where you just wake up and understand that, hey man, this money is it can be gone tomorrow. Like you could be swimming in the pool like Scrooge McDuck, or you could be out here saying what the beep, you know. So just hopefully you get it together, man.
Yeah. Hopefully you get together, man. I mean, we want to make sure that you guys understand that your career is on the line when you do certain things, and you got to do better. John Morant, I'm hoping that you learn from this and you actually do everything you need to do because you're a black man, you're a father. There are a lot of things that I want you to do. You're a young man at that, and I just want you to be successful. Plain and simple. You're a great player to watch. I enjoy watching you play. It's not that you're not intelligent. We know you're intelligent. That's the thing. We hear the things that you say. We hear how you articulate some of the things that you talk about. You're an awesome kid. You're an awesome young man. Represent yourself that way. That's all that I want. Just represent yourself the correct way and be you.
Facts.
Be you, the best you possible.
Factoroni.
And now I'll go ahead and talk first about my man. So you go ahead and ask the
I
questions.
just hey man, I just want to know because we talking about next season, man. It's been a rough one. You all did what most people didn't say you could do. You did the unthinkable. I see the background you got back there. I see the championships. I see Smoke smiling. I see Jimmy into the game, and I see Bam looking at him like, "What you doing all that for?" And that must
Mm-hmm.
be the same face Bam gave him when he went to the locker room. But
Facts.
I want to ask you this, man. Just give the folks a quick recap of the season, Dave. Like, how are you feeling about your team right now?
I feel good, honestly. Now that I really think about everything, I feel good. because we exceeded my own expectations of what I felt that we could do this year because of everything we didn't do in the off season before the year started. Like I said this countless times, we let PJ Walker go. We didn't even, I mean, not, yeah, PJ Tucker, sorry, not PJ Walker. I'm thinking about football right now. I don't
Yeah,
understand
I'm
why.
about to say. So
But
also,
we let PJ Tucker go. And we didn't have anyone to replace him. And then later on in the season, we traded away Dwayne Dedman, who was a good defensive piece that we had, to the Spurs for a second round pick of some cash, which is not a lot. Um, and we didn't do much at that point. And then when the trade deadline came, we had a chance to get Kyle Lowry out the door and to get someone else in. And Pat Riley took a nap. Bruh. So we all know how I felt about that. I had a huge rant about that, and I was livid. Even put Pat Riley in the doghouse. There was a point where I put Bam Adebayo in the doghouse.
My guy, you in the doghouse.
So there was a lot of things about that, and like I said, I was really upset. But that's because I expected more from my team. I know what we're capable of, and I knew it's like I expect y'all to do more. So I wanted you guys to be able to, compete for a championship. And that's where we ended up. We ended up in the NBA Finals this year, where a lot of people did not think we were capable of doing that. They said that we were outmatched against Milwaukee. Yes, I get it. I understand that Giannis got hurt, but he did come back, and he still played his game, and we still won. So I get it. If you're the best, if he's supposed to be what he is, and he's supposed to, be that kind of a player, then they should have been able to get us out the door, whether he was injured or not. He came back and played like he wasn't injured at all. So beat them 4-1. Then the next round, I had no confidence in the Knicks. I knew we were going to win that series, but there some people who feel like that we didn't belong because the Knicks actually you were one of them. There were other people where it wasn't just you. Because I made bets with people during that, and someone had to do 50 push-ups for that, Vaughn. And then when we got to the Eastern Conference Finals, people thought we were outmatched in that one as well. They said that the Celtics were the better team. They were the best team in the NBA, not just in the East, but the best team. Yeah. Best team in the East. And look, we went up 3-0, but then they came back and won 3 games. So we had to go game 7 in the house, and we beat them by 20 at home in game 7. I get it. Jason Tatum got hurt, but they still had what people said was the better team. Jaylen Brown did not play a great game. He had 8 turnovers in that game, which was his career high, which is not good. But all in all, with the team that we had, we got all the way to the NBA Finals this year. First playing team to ever make it to the NBA Finals. But only the second 8 seeds to ever make it. And of course, now that we know the results, both 8 seeds have never won an NBA title because there was the Knicks in 1999 and then us this year. So we didn't win it all, but I'm glad that we were actually able to get there. That's better than any team in the chat. And that's not me taking a shot. That's just me saying that I didn't expect this. I didn't expect this until the first round. After the first round, after game 3 in the first round, I said we can go all the way. And I pretty much did that. We went all the way. So, but I want to talk about some things that I think we should do. Because there are a lot of talks about Damian Lillard and Bradley Beal being able to come to Miami.
I know you want to go to hold on. I just thought about it because you said you went all the way. You got your expectations. But one thing though, because you really wasn't on the show like we wanted you to be on, hopefully your son doing good,
Yeah, he's good.
But just, I know you watched the highlights. Like, I just need to know your initial reaction after that game.
My initial reaction after the game was, Jimmy, where were you at?
Okay.
That was my initial. My initial reaction was like, Jimmy, like, what are you doing? And then Spo, why did you have Tyler Hero available, but you didn't give him a minute in the game? So that's my question. If you said all hands on deck, clearly it wasn't all hands on deck because Tyler Hero didn't play a minute. That sounds like a false statement to me. I don't like that at all. And my question is, why did Strus get more minutes in that game than Duncan Robinson when Duncan Robinson was actually hitting the shots? I didn't like that either. Strus played terrible the last 3 games of the finals. Him and Gabe Vincent, neither one of them played well. So I won't put this all on Jimmy, but Jimmy was not aggressive when he needed to be. But this was a total team loss. But him as being the best player, being the leader, he has to do more. And whether yes, I could say that he was clearly injured after the Knicks series, but he still had games where he played, and you're out there on the court. You're not making excuses, so I'm not going to make excuses for you. So you did everything you're supposed to do to get us there. So you got to be able to help us win it all. You said that we were going to win it all, and we didn't. So that's being put on your shoulders, Jimmy. I still consider you a star and a number one. You may not be a number one on other teams, but you are a number one on our team because you fit our culture.
Facts.
You are the epitome of what Heat culture is. This is exactly why I have it in my background. This is Heat culture. This is what we do. When people think that we can't get it all, when we can't win it, we do everything that we can to get ourselves there. 2 of the last, out of the 4 years you've been there, you gotten us to 2 NBA Finals appearances. People didn't think that we would ever make the finals again when LeBron James left. You clearly changed that. 3 of the last 4 years since you've gotten us there, we've been to the Eastern Conference Finals. The only time we didn't was after the bubble because that was a late finals. No finals has ever been played that late. And then you only had a month or 2 free after that. So and then it was injury riddled, it was COVID riddled, but that happened to a lot of teams in the NBA. And we got swept in the first round by the eventual champions, the Milwaukee Bucks. So it's not like when we lose, we either lose to someone who gets to the finals or someone that wins the finals. That's pretty much what happens. Because when we got to the finals, we lost to the Lakers in the bubble. We lost this year to the Nuggets. And then in the Eastern Conference Finals last year, we lost to the Celtics who got to the finals. And then in 2021, we lost against the eventual champions. So 3 of those teams have become the champions and 1 just got there. So it's not like we're losing to bad teams. We're losing to teams that actually are really good. So I'm proud of my team because of what we did.
And I like that you said that because now you done built it up. So now you can talk about your expectations going into next season.
Yeah. So now the expectations, I believe, for Miami is to go get another star. That's what we need. We need another star. I like what Bam did in the finals because he stepped up when I didn't think he would. And he did. He played exactly the way he should have played this entire playoffs. He played his butt off. But it was everyone else. It was pretty much just Bam and everybody else. No one else really did what they were supposed to do. So, and what we were missing was scoring. We missed scoring, and we needed a bench that could actually come in and produce. We didn't really have that. The only person that came off the bench and produced, honestly, was Duncan Robinson. Kyle Lowry had his spots and his moments where he did what he should have done, but it wasn't consistent. This is exactly why I said I would rather have Gabe Vincent starting and have Kyle Lowry on the bench. But what I noticed is now from what I've heard from the press conferences, Gabe Vincent might be gone. There's a possibility that he may or may not be. He may or may not be there. He's expecting to be paid as well, but I don't think he's going to get paid a lot. I'm not expecting to get an offer of $15 million more. I'm not expecting that because this is really what the first season anyone's really noticed Gabe Vincent. I knew what he was capable of because that's my team, but no one else really talked about Gabe other than this year in the playoffs. No one else really expected him to be what this was because I remember in the regular season, people was like, all right, well, y'all need to go to another point. And I was like, we have a point guard. He's just coming off the bench. He really needs to start and put Kyle Lowry on the bench. And that was the switch that was needed to be made, and it got made. So who knows what's going to happen with Gabe? Strus, I don't know. I think more likely he comes back. So I'm not sure how that's going to go. They're saying that Kevin Love will come back. But the moves I think we need to make, I still think we need to go get a solidified 4 that can space the floor and play some defense because we got someone that can space the floor. Kevin Love can space the floor, and he is one of the best passers in the league, especially when it comes from one end of the court to the other.
You need to be a quarterback.
Exactly, and he can rebound the ball like crazy. He's still a great rebounder, but we all know he's a defensive liability. That's just what he's always been his entire career. So we need somebody that's going to be able to play some defense as well. I've named some players before. Was it John Collins and Miles Turner? But Miles Turner just got a contract from the Indiana Pacers, so that may or may not happen. Um, some people may throw around DeAndre Ayton, but I don't think that he fits our culture. So I would say no to DeAndre Ayton. There are other players out there that I like as well. But the one player that I have to talk about is Dame. That seems to be the talk of the town now. And that's because of something he came out and said that if there was a trade to be happened, Miami is the obvious choice.
Two players that said that.
Yeah, two players actually said that. Um, so that could possibly be a move, but from what I'm hearing from the Blazers and from Dame is that they're still working together to actually build around Dame. So I'm not going to put all my hopes and dreams on that. I would love for it to happen, but I don't know. I don't know what Pat's thinking. I don't know what the offer is going to be. But if it was to happen, it would be great, and that could, I believe, that could put us over the top. Because
Dame would be the one. Yeah, okay. I just want because I said it's two players. The other players for the folks that's listening, and if you've been like underneath a rock that's on top of another rock, Bradley Beal is the other team that's been other player that's been leaked to the team.
Yeah, Bradley Beal has also been leaked to the team as well. There's actually been three players leaked to the team. So there was Bradley Beal and Kyrie Irving were the other two players that were leaked to the team. So they said that Miami had offered a trade for Kyrie last year before the trade deadline. So that's another name. I mean, I'm okay with it. It's not my first option, but I'm okay with it. Kyrie is my favorite point guard in the league just because of the way he plays. But I mean, what there's a lot that comes with Kyrie. But I think it will work well because of his relationship with Jimmy. So I think that would be fine. Like I said, I'm okay with it. I don't see how that would happen because I don't think we're going to offer him that money. I'm not sure. But I would say this though. I mean, if we offered if we paid Duncan Robinson $90 million, I think we should, whatever Kyrie asks, I think we should at least give him something close to that. If that was the case. Now Bradley Beal, he just signed a contract for $215 million. So are we really going to give up a lot for Bradley Beal? I don't see us doing that. I really don't.
Well, you see what Mark said.
Yeah,
I'll bring it back up.
I get what Mark said. I'm not paying attention to what Mark said. Although I guess
Joe will kill us if we didn't read the comment. I got for the audio listeners. Mark said we don't want anybody from Miami. They play good together, but they mid individually. And Mark is a Wizards fan, so he's speaking from the aspect of.
Yeah, I get it. Mid individually, but the Wizards has been a mid team, so I guess.
Now I see how Carl felt. I know how Carl felt. Yep.
I had to take a shot. This is Mark. But no, I mean, I think the pieces that would probably fit somewhere else would be a Tyler Hero. I think he would still be a good player somewhere else if he was to get traded. He's probably the one person on there that's going to get talked about the most to be a trade piece because he's the more likely one. He's young. He's a good scorer. He was the sixth man of the year last year. So that I get it. And before the broken hand, he was actually helping us put some buckets in the playoffs against the Bucks. So he's a scorer. But he also just got a big contract from Miami. So that's what probably would set it off with that. But who are you going to add into that deal? Are you going to add Kyle Lowry into that deal? Do you want someone that's that old and not really able to play his game the way you want to? Then that would mean that the Wizards are in full rebuild mode to take on somebody like that.
Let me jump in right quick because I thought about this when I was coming home, right? And I was like, Tyler Hero, Bill for Hero, and Kyle Lowry. Then I thought about it, I was like, if we're not in rebuild mode, I don't want to bring. If I'm getting Kyle Lowry, he has to play. There's no buyout. Like we're not doing that. We can't trade for players that want to buy out after they got here. Because if you're like you're saying, if you're not in rebuild and you're trying to make the play in, that's a bad idea. But if you're in rebuild mode, I agree with you. You get Kyle Lowry. expiring contract, get him off the books, let him go somewhere, and you keep Hero. And Bill goes down to Miami and lives happy.
Exactly.
Maybe.
That could be the piece because Bill's a scorer, but he hasn't necessarily been healthy all the way. But I mean, Miami hasn't always been healthy, so I get it, and it could possibly work. So who knows? But I mean, all the other players on the team, the only other name would be the only other big name on the team, honestly. I mean, Caleb Martin may be mentioned because of how he's played this year as well, because he stepped up. Remember, he started the year as the power forward on the team, which I thought was stupid. But when we went and got Kevin Love, he went back to his original position as a small forward and actually did what he needed to do and actually played a lot more and played a lot better. So I would like to keep him on the team, but if we're trading him for someone, I would rather that be Dame. If we're going to trade a lot of pieces, I would rather that be for Dame because that's someone I know who's going to do whatever he needs to do in the playoffs. He's gotten to the Western Conference Finals before. He's had some big games in the playoffs, so I would if I'm between the two, I'm picking Dame. Now I'm cool with Bill, but Bill just got a $250 million supermax last year. So, and there's only so many supermaxes you can have on one team. Because remember, Jimmy has one already. Bam has one. And then Tyler just got one last year because he was a sixth man of the year.
But with the new CBA, right, it only limited it to two.
It only allows you to have two. So what can we really do to be able to do that? I don't think it's a lot. So
I'm gonna ask
there's some things that can be made, but
I'm gonna ask you two questions then. So let's play down this mythical world, right? If you get Dame, right, and you kind of keep all the pieces that you have. Well, I don't really know how the trade will work out. Let's just say you got Dame, Butler, and now you have Bam. Where does your team rank in the Eastern Conference?
Top 4 team in the East. Top 3 team in the East because you still got to talk about Milwaukee, Philly, and Boston. Okay. But everyone else you can flip them around. You got the Knicks, the Cavs, the Hawks,
That's really Cavs. Like you said, Cavs, Knicks, Cavs. After that, it's really a toss-up. Atlanta, we don't really know where they're going to be. And remember yesterday we had Pacers and Pistons fans on here, and they're really talking about being in the top from 8 on down. Orlando, they might be top 5. Don't forget, top 5.
It's not happening, but I get you. Orlando. So there's some Chicago. Can't forget about Chicago because Chicago was right there. But we don't know what they're going to do with Zach LaVine. He might be gone. Vucevic, are they going to give him that contract to keep him there? So who knows how that's going to happen. So, yeah, I put us top 4 team in the East. I mean, if you look at it this year, we were still a top 4 team in the East. Our record-wise just didn't see that. But you saw how we played. We played like we were a top 4 team in the East.
I mean, you made the finals. That lets you know y'all should have been in that top 4 discussion the entire time.
Exactly. We should have been. But we didn't play that way in the regular season, so I get it.
Right.
But
this could be this could be a quick one. I would say same question, but with Bill. But I feel like you feel better with Dame. But I just gotta ask because Bill's out there. So same question with Bill. What do you rank? Still top 4?
Top 4, top 5. I would probably put us at 5, probably because I think that he's a solidified scorer. So I'm not taking that away from him. It's just how healthy is he going to be? But I guess you can kind of ask that with Dame too, because Dame hasn't necessarily been healthy the last few years either.
That's true.
For me, I'm just more so going off of their playoff success, and Dame has gotten further than Bill. But who knows how that works? Like I said, I think I'm okay with both of them, honestly, but I just prefer Dame over Bill.
Gotcha. And we got one more question, just like team and player accolade predictions. You don't have to ask me that question because you already know my team ain't gonna do too much. So I'm gonna ask you because I just came from the finals.
So MVP for the team. I mean, I can't. Am I going to say someone other than Jimmy? Am I really going to do that? I'm not. It's Jimmy. Jimmy's the MVP. He's the leader. He's the best team. He stepped up in the playoffs more than anyone else did from what they did in the regular season. With him being our leader, we got all the way to the NBA Finals. Now, when we got there,
I think with this question, Joe was saying, like, what do you think they would win? Would they be first NBA
Next year?
Yeah, next year.
The only person I would say something about is maybe Bam being in Defensive Player of the Year.
I can see
Him
that.
being in that conversation. Anyone else, I don't see that. I don't see anything else other than if we keep Caleb, he could be Sixth Man of the Year. That's something that could happen for him if that happens. But who knows? Who knows exactly how that'll work out? But I'm cool with either one. And like he pretty much said what I said before. We need a solid big. But the only thing is you won't move Bam to 4 because Bam is not a solidified bucket getter when it comes to shooting. He can make some buckets from 10 to 15 feet in the mid range, but outside of that, you don't count on it. So leaving him at the 5 is cool. We just need to make sure we have a 4 that can be able to do that, but also help out with defense and get rebounds. So I'm cool with Bam standing at the 5 because
So I need like an AD.
Like an AD or even a Karl Anthony Towns, somebody like that. So
game changers. I got you. Hey, he said it. He did that on purpose. He knew what he was doing.
You're right. But we just need somebody like that. So that'll help out. But accolades as far as next year, I can see, like I said, I could do that. I would see Bam being in the conversation defensive player of the year if he keeps this up and plays great defense because he can actually guard all 5 positions. So that could happen. And like I said, Caleb Martin, depending on where he is, and if we still have Tyler, because more likely Tyler would probably start. So I could see that. But yeah, if I was to bet on that, it would be Bam being the defensive year conversation and Caleb Martin probably being the 6 Man of the year conversation because he really stepped up big time in the playoffs this year.
Gotcha. Well, I mean, sounds like you got some. I mean, you coming from the finals, going into next season, you already know what to expect from the team, and you got some big names linked to your team. But I think my man, a Wizards fan, he jumping the gun already. So I'm gonna flip it. I can't ask myself the question. So now you got to take the mic, man. You got to be the host.
Yep. So now, same questions for you. From what you saw this year, how do you reshape the landscape of what's happening in Washington right now? Like, what do you think you guys need to make? How did you feel for one about the season that happened this year? What were your expectations before the season started, and how did it end? How did you feel about how it ended?
Man, so it's a good question. My recap is more so I wanted us to make the playoffs. Like going into being a Wizards fan, you're just like, what are we gonna do with this roster? Is KP gonna stay healthy the entire time? Is Bill gonna stay healthy the entire time? If all 3 of them get on the floor, then this could be something magical, no pun intended, because it's the Wizards. But you get about midway through the season. Honestly, I'm gonna tell you this is a little tidbit. I thought Bradley Beal was gonna sign the contract, and then by December or January, he was gonna ask for a trade. But I guess the way Porzingis and Kuzma was playing, it actually made everything kind of look like a healthy environment for him. One thing I will say is Wes, this was a major curve as far as like learning on the job. You being there 3 years and not actually making the playoffs, 3 or 2 years, and not making the playoffs, especially with a team that has this talent. You started off with Rui, not really understand. I mean, I think he had a mental break. I think that was this year, or it might have been last year. Where he started off, he had the mental break, and then he joined the team. And once he joined the team, he kind of got his footing up under him. But then they really didn't know if Avdia was going to make a jump over Rui, or if Rui needs to stay in the starting role. But Kuzma was also another forward that kind of like made his presence known in the locker room, that like, hey, I can be that leader. Again, like I said earlier before with Porzingis, just is he going to be healthy this entire time? And then what does Bill play into that? And then another major question we had was, who's our point guard? We went out and got Monty Morris, and I was like, Monty's nice, but he's not a starting point guard in this league. And you can clearly see that with the Nuggets. Like, he was a good backup for Jamal Murray. And when Murray went down, he played his role correctly. They still made the playoffs, but he's not that starting point guard. So I thought we would be at least play-in bound and probably win 1 or 2 games in a playoff series. Maybe if we went up against a 76ers team or you guys, we could probably win 1 or 2 games. But if it was like Boston, for some reason, they have our number, unless it's like a Thursday night where their three is not falling and we just go up by 20. So I seen player inbound. We were close. We got there. Porzingis shocked me. He played mostly all of the season until they said he had some illness and they sat him down. Bill had his moments where he was just Bill. Kuzma was Kuzma. You give him the ball, he probably makes some plays. If you don't, then he'll just jack up a shot and maybe it goes in, maybe it don't. Monty
Mm-hmm.
Morris showed again that he is who we thought he was as far as just a backup piece. I really think we should have kept KCP. And with Rui, the whole trade. Remember, we came on here, we talked about the trade when he went to LA, and I was like, man, that was a bad trade, Joe. And Joe was like, nah, I really like it because if you get Kuzma back, and I was like, but we don't know if he's gonna come back.
Mm-hmm.
And we look where we at now. Kuzma was one of the big pieces in the LA series a few times, and now the Lakers, I mean, the Wizards just looking back like, here we go again.
Mm-hmm.
So as far as a recap on this season, man, it ended the way I wanted it to, because now we finally got some vision within the front office. So like this can roll over into my expectations for the team,
Mm-hmm.
and I can just start it from there. As far as expectations, you all see what happened. Tommy Shepard, yeah, done, son. You know, like I don't ever
Got him up out of there.
I'm not an advocate for people losing their jobs, but hey, Tommy, like you've been too close to the organization. And what Ted finally did was listening to someone else to say, hey, stop. I mean, it's good to hire people from within, but that's only when your culture is good. The Wizards really don't have a culture or a vision. We just finished talking about the Miami Heat, who has a culture. Like when you get off the plane in Miami and you're going there to play basketball, you know what time it is. You're going to get the tough grit team, and we're going to fight. And we probably not going to look good in the regular season. But playoff Jimmy going to make sure we look good in the playoffs. So make sure you play your part. Now,
Mm-hmm.
I understand what Mark was saying about how your players look mid individually, but I gotta agree on both parts. They probably do look mid individually, but imagine if Gabe Vincent or Max Strus or Caleb Martin was on the Wizards. What you think they're gonna look like here? The same thing. So
Mm-hmm.
at the end of the day, it's just about where you get in, where you fit in. Even though they could look mid individually, they had their moments in the playoffs. I don't think there's a player on the Wizards roster right now that you could say can give you a game like Gabe Vincent would have in the playoffs. Maybe Monty, I don't know, but
Yeah, I think Monty Morris could possibly give you a game or two like that. Possibly.
yeah,
Has he done it? That's the thing. Can you really think about a game that he did in the playoffs with Denver that he stepped up like Gabe, like putting up 28, 29 points in a game? I don't remember hearing about that with Monty Morris. So
and also look at it like this: Miami, the coach. Speaking of the culture, imagine if Miami had the roster the Wizards had. I think y'all probably win that finals because it's
yeah, I
more.
mean, if you give us that team with Jimmy, on that team,
You
I think
swap
it's
Bill and
possible.
Jimmy out. Just swap them
Yeah,
two.
swap Bill and Jimmy, I think it's possible. But I think that also plays a part with having to have Bam on that team too, because the Bam is. I think me. This is just me. I could be wrong, but I personally believe that Bam is a better defender than Porzingis. So
Yeah, no, and not just you. You can say
so
that.
if you
Actually,
have that,
Porzingis protects the rim like Joker. You just throw your hands up.
so if you could have, if you was to have that Jimmy and Bam with the Wizards, I think yeah, I think that's possible. Like I said, it's the culture. It's the culture. That culture is what does it. Miami's culture has always been known to be tough. So
And I think right now that's what the Wizards are in the process of getting. They're trying to gain the fans back. Like again, he cleaned house. Like I said, Tommy, you're done, son. But he brought in Michael Winger, who is actually the president of basketball operations. When Tommy Shepard was here, he was the president of basketball operations, the GM, and the vice president for something else. He had like 8 titles. And now Ted sat down and said, let me spread the wealth. So now people can actually focus on what they need to focus on and keep the main thing the main thing. And
mhm.
with Michael Winger being the president of basketball operations, he literally oversees everything within Monumental Sports. So that's the Mystics, the Go-Go, and anything, etc., related to Monumental Sports. But again, the Mystics have a GM. And one thing I like what he said in his press conference is like, I'm not that too familiar with the WNBA as far as the business aspect. So I don't want to go over there and break anything. But if they need me, I'm here. You know, and the young GM, they got Will Dawkins coming from OKC. I wish they could have stole Sam Presti, but hey, Vegas can't be choosers, you know. But hey, when you work for a guy like that, man, you learn something from him, right? And it's a
Mhm.
youth movement going on. And having some young people come in with the organization who is not tied to this franchise, who's seen it from the outside looking in, that's what we've been needing for the last few years. Because everything's been in-house, it's been homegrown, and the home was broken. So now we got somebody to try to bring it back up. So as far as this, I like the youth. Like I said, I like the youth within the front office. So my expectations for next season is either a rebuild or we actually do make that play in and make some noise.
All right. So, my next question now is, you're in the lottery. So, what do you think happens during the lottery? Who you draft, or what moves do you think you guys need to make to put you guys where you expect to be next season?
And with the eighth pick, Wizards select. Right now, my track record with the Wizards in the draft, I'm still scoring. I'm still scoring. I'm sorry. Like our track record ain't that good when it comes to drafting. Like regardless, these new guys are gonna have to impress me. Either they gonna do what the rumors are saying, they probably try to move up to get that third pick, which would be nice. I mean, we have some pieces that can probably help us move up. But if not, I'm hearing names like Anthony Black. A lot of people's been bringing it back. I want to say hats off to Carl because he was the first person that said it. And now the media is talking about it. So again, join those chats. And he seems like a good player, you know, a young guard who can probably come in and participate. But the real elephant in the room is Bill.
Yep.
It's like they threw it out there. They was when they first came here, they said we haven't talked to him yet, but now they talking about they possibly want to trade him. But his contract is so crazy that I don't know who's actually gonna pick it up. He's the only player in the league right now with a no trade clause. And I heard, and he got like a 15% trade kicker that like bumps up his salary for when he gets traded. So the Wizards have to pay 15% on top of what he was supposed to make that year.
Dang.
Hey, I need his agent. That's all.
Whoa. Whoever you are, be the agent for Refuse to Lose, please.
Man.
Come on, we need you over here.
And another thing, right, with the no trade clause, when he gets traded to another team, the trade clause goes with him. So now he has the no trade clause with whatever team he goes with. So it's really tough to be like, do I really want this? Like, as another GM, is like, Bradley Beal can get you 50. Like, if I need you to score, he's going to be a valuable option. But the Wizards messed up this contract so much. And it's like, is it worth it? Or as a Wizards GMs, what you going to get back from him? Because now it seems like, I don't really want to take on his contract. And he got a no trade clause. So now we got to renegotiate the negotiation.
And I think there's reports saying that a lot of teams are not going to give up a lot to get Bill either.
So. Nah, his trade value has went down versus when it first was out there. Like they would, I don't know, but I hope they do.
I forgot to mention that as well. Joe, what's up, Joe? I know we forgot to say what's up to you because you said, "Hey, what's up, fellas? What's going on, Joe?" There's also been talks that the Kings were interested in trading for Bradley Beal. So Joe said, "I hope we don't trade for him," but who knows what happens?
Why not, Joe?
Yeah, y'all will. The Kings would have to give up a lot in order to get him.
Give up the house, man.
But like I said, that there's a lot saying that teams are not willing to give up a lot for Bradley Beal. So who knows what happens?
So let's look at it like this, because now being optimistic, you got to sit back and be like, well, there's many ways we can go with this team. I'm not going to take up too much of your time, fellas out there. But if you keep Bradley Beal and you keep Porzingis, you now have to get Kuzma on the phone because I know he's opting out. But you got to get him on the phone and say, can we do a sign and trade? Because if you can work out a sign and trade with Kuzma, you can probably bring back in something more valuable than what you would get with Bill. And you kind of can still have the vision to build around him potentially. Because I think a free agent to come here if you have the unicorn and Bill because of how they played. Really, you just need a point guard. You get an actual floor general, something may happen in the East. CP3 get cut. I'm just saying, take the pay cut, man. You can come up here. I mean, you know what I mean? Go get. They gonna kill me, but go get John Wall back. Like, just get. He'll take the league minimum at this point. So why not?
Yeah, I think it should be. I think y'all should be done trying to get John Wall. I think John Wall just needs to go somewhere else, somewhere he's not familiar with. But CP3, I think that would be pretty. That's not a bad move. It's not a bad move. But I think CB3 is going to try to go somewhere where he can win a ring. I don't think that's happening anytime with the Wizards. This is no offense, but just from the position that you guys are in, I don't see that happening anytime soon. You guys don't necessarily attract stars, really. I mean, the biggest star you've gotten lately was Russell Westbrook, and
Active, because some people will say Porzingis, but I'm gonna go Russ. I'm gonna go Russ.
it's Russ. Porzingis ain't nothing close to where Russ is. I'm sorry.
You're right. No, you're right.
But it's possible, but Joe has said something else as well that I didn't think about. But Joe was saying send him to the Warriors for Jordan Poole, Kuminga, draft picks, and DiVincenzo. So I think that will work out for the Warriors because then you get rid of that headache in Jordan Poole because he seems like he's becoming a headache there. Jonathan Kuminga has not done much, even though he had all this hype coming out of the draft. And then you get draft picks to help with your rebuild, and you get Dante DiVincenzo, who's a good defender, and he's a pretty good shooter.
Yeah, but you got to figure out what they're gonna do with Clay and Draymond, because again, you bringing on another max contract with the
put Clay on the bench. That's what I would do.
But he won't get paid. You see what I'm saying?
I don't think he deserves to get paid, but hey, that's me. He had a good regular season. Don't get me wrong. He had a good regular season. He averaged 21 points a game. That's pretty much his career average, 21 points. So he went back to who he kind of sort of was. But in the playoffs, where were you?
And I seen this guy Ryan. He had asked a question earlier, but I don't know if you're still on, Ryan. But I'm gonna answer it right quick. Would you trade Porzingis to the Heat? And if yes, for what? Bam.
You're not giving up Bam. It's not happening.
Because I mean, if we trade Porzingis, all you guys really have is guards and forwards, and we kind of like good in that aspect. They're not giving up Jimmy. They're not giving up Bam. Nobody really wants Kyle Lowry. What are you gonna get? Gabe Vincent back, but then you can keep Porzingis and his 30. How much is his playoff option? I think it's like 36 mil, something like that.
But that's why I put Tyler Hero on that. You could trade Porzingis for Tyler. That's something that, because I think the contracts will match. The contracts will match, and then I guess you could add a couple other players in there. That's what would work for the Wizards. You would have to go trade for someone like Tyler Hero or something like that because Bam and Jimmy are off the table.
I like what Joe said here though. If I'm out of the two, I would do the sign and trade with Kuzma, and then I would figure it out. Because with Porzingis, at least, I mean, if he's going to stay on the court, you could have something of what Joker is. Because somebody said it in the chat. I don't know if Kev said it, but Joker is what everybody wanted Porzingis to be. Like, that's exactly what they wanted. Like, can shoot the three, space the floor, but Porzingis can jump though. That's the only difference.
Yeah, but Porzingis ain't the passer that Jokic is at all.
So that's what they give and take from each other. One can dunk, one can pass.
Exactly.
But yeah, now if I'm the Wizards, my mindset is more so either we're gonna build around Porzingis and Bill, or Bill get out of here and we just gonna build around Porzingis. Like, that's just what it got to be.
Yeah, and Joe said it. He said trade Bill and Kuzma, but keep Porzingis. So I guess that.
I wish he was on the show when you said this, Joe. Because remember what I told you about Rui? We could have traded Kuzma at the All-Star break and got more than 3 second-round picks.
Facts.
That's all I'm saying.
Definitely could have got more than that. The Lakers stole Rui from y'all. That's what they did. So now I guess my last question now, same question you asked me, is what accolades, what awards do you think your team and some players of your team may get next year?
If we trade up and get
let me ask this way: with Bill on the team and without Bill on the team, what do you think?
With Bill on the team, I think he makes a third NBA team. I can see him making a third NBA team. I can see that. Porzingis, everything else, I would just say get better. Just get better. Without Bill on the team, no one's winning an award or anything like that. I see Porzingis actually making an All-Star game. I'll say that. He'll probably make an All-Star game. But without Bill, Porzingis probably still makes an All-Star game if he's still here. Other than that, as far as the team accolades, maybe West could win Coach of the Year in his head. I don't know. But I don't know. Or maybe Will Dawson could win GM of the Year by the moves he made. That could be something. We can see that.
I think that's something to push for. I mean, new GM, he can make some moves that'll help a team out, be a lot better than they were the year before. So I could see that. If that happens, I could see that.
Yeah, that's about the furthest I can go with that as far as just accolades. So yeah, Wizards just be better.
Miami, make some moves, please.
Just like
Don't have me going into next season like I was this season, please. Like we got this far. Don't
us.
have
We both had our moments. Remember, Joe was like, "Man, can y'all be happy?" Sheesh.
facts. But if you look at it, if both of my pro teams got far the last few seasons, and now I'm just like, nah, I want to see us win because it's been I haven't seen neither one of my pro teams win since 2012, 2013. That's the last time I seen one of my teams win something, and that was Miami Heat. We won a championship in 2013. Well, I can't count the Red. Well, the Red Sox, the Reds won in was it 2018, 2019? We won the World Series then. But I'm just talking about strictly basketball and football.
Yeah, now don't ask me about basketball. That's 78. I know what's going on back then.
I don't think any of us were thought of during that time. So
None of us. None. Actually, this jersey might be a throwback after this episode.
Facts. Oh man, so that's our NBA offseason talks for that. So if you're watching, we appreciate the comments that came in with Joe, new guy Ryan, not necessarily sure who you are, where you came from. We appreciate you for watching the show.
Facts.
Could be the guy from Starbucks, could be. I'm not sure, but appreciate you for watching. Mark, all the other guys, Jerry, we saw you come in for a little bit, and my boy Steven, my best friend since we were kids. So appreciate you for supporting my guy. So we appreciate all of that. Make sure you like this, subscribe, share, of course. We're about to be ending the show in a few minutes. We just have one last small little topic to talk about. We're just going to be very quick. But we appreciate you guys for being here. And now for the last one, we got to talk about Michael Jordan. He is selling his stake for $3 billion to another ownership group. So he originally bought the stake, his ownership stake in 2010 for $180 million. And he is now selling it for $3 billion. So he's made a profit. So he's made a profit. But we all know Jordan as an owner and GM has been horrible. So it's about time that he sells the team.
I'm gonna say GM. I can't say owner because the Hornets jerseys. He brought the Hornets back to North Carolina.
The jerseys, yes, I get that. But what have they done as a team?
GM.
Absolutely.
That's why I said GM. Just terrible.
I'm going to say ownership too. I'm putting that in there. I'm sorry. GM and ownership is just not good. So it was about time that you were able to sell this. You're the GOAT in basketball to a lot of people. I believe that you're the GOAT, but there's some arguments to be made for LeBron and some other players, so we get that. But as an owner, you're not even close to being the GOAT. Not even close. Or the GM. You're just not close. You're not good. You made bad picks like Kwame Brown.
Hey. Kwame Brown was okay.
He was trash.
Could have took Tyson Chandler though.
Yeah, could have. Yeah. Kwame Brown was all right, I guess. But he wasn't that good. You just didn't make. I think LaMelo is probably the best one, but he's been injured. You can't stay healthy. He's probably the best pick he's had ever.
What's my man? The rapper. He got locked up. The one that got accused. The power forward. What is his name?
What, Miles Bridges?
Yeah. He was all right.
Yes, he was, but LaMelo's the one. LaMelo's the best pick that he's had.
Look at me defending.
I think he drafted Emeka Okafor too.
He did. Yes, He's
had a lot of bad moves, and he drafted Michael Kidd-Gilchrist.
I'm glad he did that because the Wizards wanted him. I'm glad he did that. So thank you.
It's a lot of bad moves he made. So Jordan will no longer be an owner in the NBA, at least for now. He may try to do it again, but for now he's selling his stake. So
what thoughts on that? That's not bad. PJ Washington. Never mind. We know about PJ. We know about
exactly.
PJ. Never mind. I mean, that was a good flip. I'm happy to see that there was a minority owner in the league, and he was able to flip his team for the amount he has, and for the most part, right? When you think about players, I mean, owners that have to sell their team, it's always in a negative fashion. You rarely just see someone sell their majority stake when it's on the up. Like Jordan got nothing in the media right now outside of the Scottie Pippen stuff, but we not that kind of show. So, but yeah, I mean, I'm happy for him as far as that. And now LeBron has another trailblazing path that he can walk behind. It's like, all right, own a team, quick flip. Some about these Mavericks, man. You should have been on here to talk about Dallas. How about
Exactly. Should have been on here. I invited you, and you said you weren't able to make it. So, no talk about the Mavericks until you're able to come on the show.
that? He said, don't disrespect my last name. Hey, man. Hey, we can't help it. We all got cousins, and we all good at something. Sometimes our cousins ain't. It is what it is, bro.
Hey, I had a couple McFadden's in the NFL. Did they do great? No. So
Hey,
it happens.
I got an Anderson right now in baseball that's wilding. You know what I mean? Like,
exactly.
So,
might want to think about those. I mean, Joe Jordan. I mean, it's not much.
They get Jordan Crawford. There you go.
That's pretty much the show, man. So we appreciate that. We appreciate y'all for watching today. Today was a great show. Tomo, always love being on here with you, my guy. So appreciate it.
Facts.
But I will say this: I want to be on one of those boxing episodes now.
All right, come on.
I want to be in one of those boxing episodes now. I'm gonna do my research so I can prepare myself. But I've been everywhere except for boxing. I did every single show except for boxing, so I got to put myself in there.
He did junk on LeBron. He did. That video got erased from the internet.
He did.
Jordan Crawford was one of my favorite Wizards outside of Nick
He
Young.
was tough. He's tough. He's still tough. So hey, I like Jordan Crawford. So
hey, cool, actually, Jordan Crawford, if you ain't doing nothing, man, come on the show.
Yeah, come on the show. You're right. Come on. Hey, any NBA player, any star player that wants to come on the show, please come on the show. We appreciate it. We welcome to everybody, not just people like us. We welcome to whoever it is. As long as you got the knowledge, we'd love for you to come on the show. Man. But that's our show today. So last words from me. Miami Heat did a great job getting over to NBA Finals, but you didn't win at all. So
mission failed. We'll get them next time.
Yep, mission failed. We'll get them next time. So I don't want to hear any guarantees. I don't want to hear nothing. I want to see moves being made. Because we didn't make any moves last year. But like I said, this is what I expect from Pat Riley. There's 1 year he don't make moves, and the next year he makes moves. So I'm expecting him to make moves next year because last year he didn't make any. So let's see. So let's see what you do this NBA offseason. There's a lot of talks for Dame and Bill. Hey, I don't want to hear nothing until you actually make a move. So we'll make a move. And for San Francisco, I'm ready for the NFL season to start. It's I feel like we're gonna have another good season, but it ain't nothing if we don't get to the Super Bowl and win it. So that's my expectations. I understand we got Brock Purdy and Trey Lance and Sam Darnold and Brandon Allen. Those are the quarterbacks that we have, but we got to make some moves. We got the roster to get there. It's the quarterback. So we need somebody to be healthy and play well so we can get all the way there. Red Sox, we got a series that starts today at 7 against the Yankees. Let's go win it.
Man, I just want to address some folks in the chat. Hey, guys, next time you see this little short of about a guy saying Dak Prescott got embarrassed, can you please not share it? Okay, this is the 15th time I had to watch that clip. Okay, I'm tired of seeing what is it? This wasn't even Derek Carr, David Carr make Dak look bad. Okay, I said it and I'll say it again. He looked terrible. It was just bad. Accuracy was all the way off. If anybody ever said Dak Prescott didn't improve, go watch that video and then watch him now. That lets you know right there he improved. All right, man. And for the Wizards, man, like I said, I'm very optimistic this season. I'm gonna have to steal this one from you, Dave. I don't want to hear about anything until it's actually done, because the media hype right now is just too much. They just keep saying, "Oh, you can go here. Oh, you can go here. Or we can do this. We can do that." Now, I don't want to see it until it actually shows up. Kind of like with D-Hop signing with the Patriots. I'm saying it on the show, so hopefully it does happen. So that way Dalvin Cook can go there, and I won't be called crazy in the chat. Okay, help me. But outside of that, man, look, Cowboys. We're gonna talk about it when we do the NFC East panel. Mark keep jumping on in the comments about their defense is gonna be better than ours. you don't even know if Chase Young gonna be there. So at the end of the day, who's your safeties? Who's your linebackers? All right, like slow it down, Bucko. Slow it down. All right, that's all I got for you guys.
All right, and that's the show for today. So until next time, peace. Thank you for staying to the end. If you're watching this on YouTube, please like this video, subscribe, and also hit that notification button so you can be notified next time we put out a video. If you're listening on any podcast platform, subscribe and hit that notification button, y'all, so you can be notified we put out another podcast audio. And last but not least, hit that share button. No matter what you're listening to or watching it, hit that share button and send it to somebody that you know that would love to watch this episode you just listened to. So once again, thank you for staying to the end, and we'll see y'all at the next episode.